What's up, everybody? It's Chris from ProPhoto, and welcome to Geared Up. This is our weekly live broadcast where we talk about lighting techniques, gear, photography in general. Just have a good time taking your questions and talking about a cool subject. Let's jump into what it is that we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about a light modifier called the Probox. This is a pretty unique modifier. It's probably something that a lot of people haven't seen. Gets its love in the product photography world, and the reason is it does a really good job at controlling highlights. Why is that? That's because the lighting of the Probox is even edge to edge. There's no hot spots. It's the exact same edge to edge, corner to corner, whatever you think. It's even. It's a really, really beautiful modifier. And the cool thing about that is because it's even edge to edge and because these edges are super flat, you can actually take your Proboxes and you can stack multiples. So if you need a larger wall of light that's even edge to edge, the Probox can do that. And I'm gonna flip off this light here in just a second so you can see the difference. You can actually just see that in general. And so a lot of people would ask, why couldn't I just do something like that with a strip box? And you can. So the downsides to a strip box over the Probox are the strip box is going to give you a hot spot along the lines of where the main light is. So right around this area of your strip box, you're going to start to find that there's a little bit more light coming towards the front than there are to the edges. It starts to taper off at the ends. And so the light's not quite as even edge to edge. There's a chance if you don't, depending on how you have your light pointed, you could get a hot spot whereas the Probox isn't going to do something like that. So like if I flip on here, let me turn off this light so you can see. If I flip on, come on, love me, there we go. So you can kind of see it's a little bit harder right here towards the center, and it starts to taper off a little bit at the edge. If I pull the light back a little bit more, you can see it. There you go. You kind of see how
you need to pull it in tighter?
No, it's fine right there.
Okay.
I think you can see it. So you can see right there how there's more light towards the center and it starts to taper off a little bit more to the edge. And then right now it's kind of just overdriving what's on the screen, but that's what we're talking about. So you have a little bit more of that hot spot in the middle, in the middle, and then it starts to taper off towards the edges. So it's not quite as even as what the Probox can do. So now if I put this onto the Probox, let's put that on there, lock it into place. So the Probox, see that right there, and boom. It's not quite as efficient of a modifier, but look how even that is edge to edge. It's pretty incredible, right?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so look at that. So edge to edge, really, really even, top to bottom, corner to corner, no hot spots. That's what makes this thing so cool. And again, you can start to add these things, you can go side to side, top to bottom, however you want to do it, and start to build bigger walls of light that have this evenness. Very, very cool modifier. It does have some restrictions. The cool thing is you don't always have to remember them because they're written on the side of on the side of the box itself. But they don't want you to run a head through this that has more than 1200 watt seconds of juice. So if you're using like a Pro Head Plus, you don't want to shoot at anything higher than half power, just because it's so enclosed. It's such a tightly sealed modifier. It could build up some heat and stuff like that, and you wouldn't want to damage the modifier. Also, you don't want to use a modeling light hotter than 250 watt seconds. So like if you're using a D2, for example, you wouldn't want to keep the modeling light pumped up at full power. You'd want to kind of pull that back some. And then if you're shooting rapid fire, at about 50 shots, you should give it a couple of minutes to cool off. If you're going pop, 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 pop. If you're not shooting so rapid, it's probably not that big of a deal. It does have some venting here towards the back of the mount, but it can actually get a lot of heat compiled up in here. So it's just something to think about. The modeling light's not so much of an issue whenever you're using stuff like the B1s and like the B10s and stuff like that. It's LEDs. They don't make a ton of heat as compared to the halogens. But that being said, something to think about. So cool. Let's turn that off. So, let's jump into what we're photographing today. So, in lieu of, or in light of photographing with a Probox, we're actually going to do some product photography today. So, we're going to pop this back onto this B10X. So because of the way that the inside of the Probox is managed, I'm using a B10X Plus, a 500 watt light on there, and we're actually almost at full power. And it manages the inside of the the light the way that it does, so you get that evenness that you're not going to get from like a strip box. But the downside is an efficiency loss. So something to keep in mind. We also have a OCF 13x13 square softbox here at the bottom on an A2 with an OCF adapter, and then we have another B10 in the back with a 1x4 OCF just to give some back highlights, and you'll see how all that stuff builds up as we're taking some shots. Let's move this out of the way. People also always ask about cameras, so we're going to talk about what camera I'm using. It is a Fujifilm GFX 100S. I'm using the 110mm lens on it, which is a very nice lens. I'm going to try to get, I moved my camera earlier, so make sure that we are framed up. So we have a 110mm lens. We are shooting at f8. We are shooting at an ISO of 100 and a shutter speed of 1/25 of a second. So easy stuff. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set these up, and we're going to build the light setup. So, because mainly, obviously, we're talking about the Probox, and there's all these other softboxes in there. I want to make sure you actually see what the light looks like on the subject just by itself. So, with that being said, here comes a shot with just the Probox. So, looking at that shot, it's a really, really even light source. It's again, there's not, yeah, it just takes a second to load up. 100 megapixel files. But you can see that there's no heavy highlights on the shoe. It's a really, really clean light. Again, even edge to edge. The modifier is bigger than the shoe, so nice and soft in comparison. And it just does a really, really good job, again, of managing those highlights. It's a really, really cool modifier. And just to reiterate this part, or to iterate it, because I haven't done it yet, so you can't read something you haven't done yet. So, so you don't have to buy this thing, right? So if you're not shooting a lot of products and you like highlights aren't mission critical, this may not be the thing that you need. If you're shooting products nonstop and it's all about highlight control, maybe it's something you want to look into. But if you just need it every once in a while, rent it. Like, you should definitely rent your modifiers before you make the investment into something that you may or may not use. It's just something that I try to get people to do all the time. So rent it first before you even think, if it's something that you're thinking about adding to your arsenal, to make sure you like it. But it's a very cool modifier. So now let's add in the softbox from below. And so that should give us some really cool highlights from underneath the shoe and start to illuminate kind of that front part and some more of those grooves. So here we go. Make sure we got focus again. Bop. So there, now we have the highlight. You'll see it pop up here in a second that starts to build from the bottom. Really cool stuff.
Ooh, yeah, that's
so
huge difference.
Yeah, so it starts to look really, really cool. But one of the things that's happening is the shoe is starting to kind of fall off to the background. So we're losing the shoe to the background. So the strip box is going to take the shoe and separate it from that black background some. And it's honestly, it's gonna be kind of the thing that adds the polish to it that I think really, really takes the shot up a notch. So things to think about. So let's kick on that. Here we go. Perfect. So that'll load up here in just a second. Boom. So the highlight again just helps separate that shoe from the background, and everything's kind of, we have it hung up on, in case people are wondering, we have it hung up on a grip arm with a clothes hanger. So I guess I don't want to take it down to show. I'm trying to see. Maybe I could. Shoe. Oh yeah, I could show the other shoe. We have another shoe on a clothes hanger.
Shoe on strings. Here you go.
So we have the shoe. This one, I guess we've twisted up nicely, but yeah, we've done a great job twisting this one up. But we hung the shoe from a clear hanger, and then you can kind of reposition the strings around the hanger how you'd like, and to kind of change the position of the shoe. And then you could either we just looped the fishing line through the shoe, these loops on the shoe, but you could use a safety pin if you wanted to, or something like that. This is just gonna be easy to Photoshop out, which is kind of cool. But that's how we have it hung up, just on a clothes hanger and some fishing line. And then again, the fishing line is pretty easy to Photoshop out. But yeah, just hanging on a grip arm. Really, really simple stuff. But again, this is actually a lot of, if you haven't shot a lot of product stuff, like this is kind of fun to just sit here and play with the light and sculpt it and mold it the way that you might want to. I have a lot of fun doing this kind of stuff. So it's a really, really neat. And then again, the Probox just makes it really easy because again, I don't have to worry about trying to feather the highlights or anything like that. It's even edge to edge. It's a really, really nice modifier. That being said, that's the Probox. Really, really simple to talk about. It's not too crazy, but it is a fun modifier. And it's something that I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen before. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I'll answer them, or one of the people from our team will answer it. I know when we shot this thing originally, the audio was a little bit funky. So yeah, we had our internet got it very excited for us today. It was a little bit too excited. So, but that being said, drop a comment, drop a question. I'll be more than happy to answer it. You're more than welcome to DM me as well. But in a nutshell, that's the Probox. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you have any other questions, let us know. In the meantime, we'll see you on the next Geared Up. Peace out.